Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome as the Weekend Warriors Formula Ford series rolls into the UK and the notorious Oulton Park circuit, formed from the estate roads of a country manor house. It forms one of the iconic national circuits here in the UK, and what a circuit is. And well, joined by fellow British commentator and pro sim racer Owen Carroll. Of course, we have Samina Kumia, as always, in the virtual production trailer. Owen, welcome back. Great to have you back. And well, you missed a cracker that myself and Chaz covered last week at Ridskogen Motor Centre.
Yeah, indeed. Hello, everyone, and yeah, good to be back. I saw the broadcast last weekend, and yeah, it looked pretty good race, pretty close between most of the drivers, and obviously Jason Green taking the win there, so congrats to him last week as well. But of course, coming over here at Oulton Park, I'm most looking forward to the hairpin, which is obviously the more revised down circuit Oulton Park here. I think that's going to cause a lot of issues for most of the drivers today, especially in the first few laps when everyone's really closed up and bunched together. Of course, the chicane as well being one to look out for as well. But yeah, I think that hairpin's going to keep our eyes peeled for a lot of moves down the inside.
See, for myself, I prefer the much longer layout. However, on the flip side, this layout does invoke more overtaking opportunities, which, as a neutral, as a third party, as a commentator, that's what we're all about and what we're here to see. Excitement, action, drama, overtakes plenty. We've got qualifying just ongoing right now. We've got about just over 5 minutes remaining, and it's Megan Overstreet for the first time this season, sitting in provisional pole position. Interested to see if she can remain there, but there's so many big hitters right behind her, isn't there? Owen, you've got Soto, Hoagie, Marley goes second there to join Overstreet on the front row. Pereira, Mayer, Green, who's obviously won races, but last week alone, as you mentioned just earlier, that's some real big hitters behind her, all queuing up, waiting to try and snap it away from her, and we're half a second covering our top 7 right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's yeah, as you said, all the heavy hitters coming in with some good times there as well. York Marley only 0.004 behind Megan Overstreet. So yeah, it's a very close sprint between that top 3, and it's going to be interesting to see what Marley can do, or even Soto, or any of the heavy hitters that we see within this field pull through. Of course, only just under 5 minutes to go here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what these guys can do and see if Megan Overstreet can keep that main pole position.
that's not even countering, likes of Ronenberg, Murakami, and Taylor Rice. He's an epic qualifier. He's the Portuguese driver. He's currently down in 11th. So even outside that half-second window, still a lot of drivers out there who've got time to make up. As there is your provisional pole sitter, Overstreet, just making her way around the back of the circuit on an outlap, looking to go again. Just like Soto, he's on an outlap too. It's going to be interesting to see how they can get on, how much faster they can go. Just exit. Well, there you go. Alison Hoagie goes fastest of everyone. The Canadian up into pole position by nearly 0.2 of a second. That's a big old margin considering the slim margins that we had previously between our top 7.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big statement by Alison Hoagie as well to put a time that's almost 2 attempts ahead of everyone, just showing what the pace potential is there on track, and yeah, really putting to work what he can do in the car. I don't see anyone improving too much here at the minute, but we could start seeing some more kind of heavy hitting lap times come in as the times start running in, and as qualifying comes to a close with the fuel dropping out as well. But yeah, Hoagie putting in a statement there for sure into the last stages of the qualifying session.
Let's have a look through the championship standings as Mention just starting to close in on the closing stages here of qualifying. And for Spec 1, it's Jason Green. Well, he's turned up to 8 rounds out of 8 so far. That's why he leads the way by some nearly 50 points there of Friends Arabian, who's not with us tonight. They've got Overstreet looking to improve. She can really haul in quite a few points this evening. Previous winner, Thomas Renders, in 4th. Then it's Gassius Ball, Ronenberg, Mayer, Jacobson, and Leandro running out your top 10. Across into Spec 2. Well, that's been a very evocative championship. Changed around quite a bit, but it's Roland Wallback leading the way. We're only competing in 7 races so far this season. Tom Laurie, he's managed 8. He's into 2nd in the championship with Richard Coffey 3rd. A much closer affair for our top 3. Then a bit of a gap emerging of just over 60 points to Gary Walbot, who's in 4th. Then it's Lassie Pentakainen, Montgomery, Montavini, Benner, Griffin, and Kaj Hansen to round out that top 10. Across now into Masters. They might be older, but they're certainly by all means not slower. And it's Antonio Rice leading the way there, but by only 9 points over Jorgen Marni, who's in 2nd. Ray is in 3rd, and then it's Brewster, Bradshaw, Murakami, Rec, Michael G. Nelson, Love, Cantor, and Charlie Vaccaro to round out that our top 11. Because you can't, just miss one person off when there's only 11 in that Masters Championship. And, well, just while we've been chatting, no improvements from anyone at the moment, is there, Owen?
No, it doesn't seem that way as well. It seems like many people are starting to back off of their lap times now as well, and it's getting very, very close, just past a minute to go now in qualifying here today. So I think this might be our final order, unless anyone comes through just at the last moment there to get in a lap time. I can see Joshua Soto, Jorgen Marni, and Megan Overstreet as well as Hoagie again, all coming out to start a final lap here. So maybe there can be a last lap flyer here for pole position, but it seems like, yeah, Hoagie with that almost 2 attempts advantage over everyone else has really set a statement there, and yeah, shown that Hoagie is one to beat here today at Oulton Park.
Antonio Rice, well, you can see about his feelings in qualifying there, just puts it straight into the wall. Murakami is just promoted up into 9th ahead of Richard Coffey, who's just on his outlap looking to go again. Likewise Antonio Rice, but I don't think he's going to get back over the line in time to be able to complete that lap. Was to start a new flying lap as he's much further around the circuit. Well, Coffey's abandoning his lap. Interesting. Could have gone again. Might have picked up off the track later on. Coming out of Lodge Corner and into Dearly, potentially. Very easy to pick up an off track. We'll speak for in person about that one. There's someone who's regularly had a little trip into the grass and into the gravel trap that's on the exit of that corner. As you see Ronenberg there, the driver who's on his flying lap, although not really seeing many, if any, greens at all right now, Owen, from Ronenberg. So, I mean, not exactly what you want to see at this stage of the race, stage of qualifying, apologies.
Yeah, no, not at all. And again, most people have abandoned that lap time. And again, it might be a case of off tracks as well. Off tracks are extremely common here at Oulton Park, with the track limits being fairly aggressive, especially through, I believe it's turn 3 there as well.
Yeah, through
On the
Cascades.
exit. Yeah, on the exit on the right hand side.
It's a nasty little one, that, isn't it?
It is.
It's run fractionally past. There's a little concrete strip beyond the red and white curbing, and you just a millimetre of your tyre onto it, just past it, and that's it, off track. Boom, done.
Yeah, and it is super, super aggressive, and I believe that's what could have caught out a lot of our drivers here today in getting a lap time. As we see green switch places, but I believe that was Maya there for 6th place there, so moves up just a touch there, but yeah, no one else setting lap times that are going to challenge Addison at the top there on the top step. So I believe this might be our final qualifying order for this qualifying session.
There we go, my internet got all a bit too excited there, couldn't cope with the pressure of what's coming and just dips out there. So, well, as you say, checkered flag out. We'll be able to take you through your grid very, very shortly. There's Tom Laurie. I don't think he's going to where we are on the clock and that.
Seems like no one else is. Tom Laurie's just come through now to set a final lap, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be hitting any green or purple sectors on this final lap. Unfortunately for him, he's just going around and getting a bit more experience with the race coming up, which is going to be needed. Of course, this track being very flowy in a way, especially with this car, with the front end being very aggressive on this car as well. So yeah, off track's very common. As Tom Laurie, we see banding in a supposed lap time there and getting a few more laps in. But yeah, this seems to be our final qualifying order, as we will take you through it in just one moment.
Will do indeed, as we transition across to the race now. There we go. Anton Hoagie starts on pole with Megan Overstreet joining him on the front row. Then it's Jorg Mani, top qualifier in Masters, joined by Joshua Soto on row 2. Row 3 is Pereira with green. Meyer is alongside Ronenberg on row 4, and then it's your second highest qualifier in Masters. So your top qualifier in Spec 2, Murakami and Coffee line up alongside one another on row 5 to round out your top 10. Then it's Brewster and Antonio Rice. Then we've got Degasius and Nelson, Walbolt and Tom Laurie onto row 8. Row 9 sees Montevini and Stevie Ray alongside one another. Then it's Roland Wallbank, your leader in the Spec 2 category championship, and well down in qualifying. He starts 6th in class in 19th overall with Caleb Pocock for company around out row 10. Then it's Franz Reck and Alberto Pellegrini, who was the only driver not to set a time in qualifying, and rounds out your 22 car field and row 11 of the grid. Now, while we're just waiting for the drivers to take to said grid, let's have a bit of a mention of one of our new sponsors for this league. See the logo in the top right corner now, Precision Driving Analytics. Now, Ray Phillips, the owner of Precision Driving Analytics, has over 30 years of experience in motorsport and raced open-wheel cars for almost 20 years of that time. He's now found a new passion now in helping others go faster and perfect their craft. He could fill the role of data and race engineer and also as driver coach while helping drivers to get the most out of data and video systems. Ray was a data engineer and a driver coach for the 2019 championship winning Ferrari Challenge team, assisting multiple drivers on that team. PDA also sells a wide range of data and video equipment that can help everyone from high performance driver education the way through to professional drivers, or even a race team with multiple cars and drivers. No matter what you choose, customers get the information they need to go faster and have a good time on track. They can help with real-world racers, sim racers, and high-performance driver education drivers go faster while staying within their limits. Give them a shout and see what precision data analysis can do for you. Well, time that to perfection as they just come down into Lodge Corner, the final turn. Getting ready to go green and go racing here.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be very, very tight across that first corner as well. Obviously, you can run really wide, but this gives you the 1x, as we see Hassan Hoagie has the decision of when to go and decides to, as we come across the line now, to start at Oulton Park round for the Weekend Warriors here. Oulton Park as they come around turn 1. Hanson's going to have a nice, comfortable lead into turn 1 here as we see Megan Overstreet behind, getting a little bit feisty and just keeping on the rear end of Hassan Hoagie. Just see there's a little bit more pressure there than he would have thought as well, going to Cascades as well. Don't want to go too tight on the run down to here as we see Megan going down the inside just a little bit here, side by side. Now when they get into the hairpin, this is going to be extremely tight going in, and we'll see Addison as the overlap now right ahead at the front wheel. of Megan Overstreet. There's a big lock-up from Joshua Soto there.
No.
Oh! York Money getting caught up there with Eric Ronenberg. Eric Ronenberg locking up at the hairpin there, going straight into the back of York Money. That's going to ruin York Money's chances of a really good race here with a fantastic qualifying position for him. And then falling all the way back down to 20th places. We see Jason Green as well, our previous winner here in the series. Now drops all the way down the field to be. As soon as we see more lockups going into the hairpin there. And it seems like Jason Green's race is not off to the best of starts, as well as York Money there, as we see a little bit more tussling there at the back of the chicane. As I said, the hairpin and the chicane are going to be two places to watch out for, especially for this first lap. And we had that exactly with York Money, Green and Ronenberg being all the way down 13, 17 and 13 places lost respectively between them all. So yeah, hectic first lap here at Oulton Park.
It was, I mean, Eric Ronenberg just seemed to completely and utterly miss his braking point, didn't he? Coming down into the hairpin, and that's what started off the symphony of chaos and what's allowed our top three to break away of Hoagie, Overstreet and Soto as they come across the line. And it's all about this following pack that starts with Richard Coffey, then pretty much ends all the way nearest down at France Rec down in 18th, so covering a large majority of our grid. Although it's Ronenberg who's actually come into the pits, hasn't he? So that's clearly to try and replace some of the damage. The drivers do have one fast repair, Marnie in two, but three big hitters gone in the form of Ronenberg, Marnie and Green, as Coffey now under threat for that fourth place by the German Simon Mayer. Slips up the inside, lovely little move there.
Yeah, indeed. Again, the hairpin's going to be a really good spot for a lot of overtakes here today, as we see Simon, the brilliant move down to the hairpin there. Got it done nice and clean. A really good exit to prove worthwhile as well, going to the chicane now and trying to build off that momentum. But yeah, really good start for the top three as well. They're going to be really loving the life as well. As we see a Reaper here of the first lap going into the hairpin. Eric Ronenberg, as we see, he probably gets a wheel on the grass or locks up pretty heavily going into the hairpin here. Yeah, just misses braking point, tries to avoid it, and yeah, collides with Jason Green and York Miley there as well. So two heavy hitters out in one big hit from Eric, unfortunately there for him. Yeah, as they seem to be, still on track, as you said before, with the fast repair, but yeah, not in the position where they hoped to be.
No, it's such a shame, isn't it? With these, well, one of the heavy hitters causing with a heavy hit to two of the other heavy hitters. Oh, try saying that after. I won't take you up on that challenge at all, Owen. But yes, Simon Mayer clearly after a bit of redemption after poor Germany finishing last in Eurovision last night. Our American viewers, it's a song contest that we have over here with Australia being in it despite being European. But work that one out. As Pocock and Nelson just trading places as well, a bit further down the field. Oh, well, that's a big incident, isn't it? Down at Cascades. There's
Laurie, yeah.
And Montevini, the Brazilian, caught up in that too.
Yeah, it seems like they just looped it on the, there's a pretty cambered into Cascades as well on the left-hand side, and if you probably get the throttle down too early, the rear can just let go on you, and the front follows around with it, and yeah, that's both of them out as well. So it didn't seem like they made contact with each other. It must have just been a simple mishap on the throttle there, and both around they go. But no damage for them. They keep going, but their tyres are not going to be with them for at least a few laps.
So there is Pocock starting to get the field spread out a little bit with these little collisions and skirmishes that have happened on this opening couple of laps here from Oulton Park, as we just head through Druids now and just trying to open up the taps, wind up and build the momentum down towards Lodge, who's going to last the late breakers out of this little group. We're going to see any improvements. Pocock, Nelson and Warbolt duke it out here. It's all up for grabs here, all over 12th place. Pocock's not a fly though. He's really capitalised from these issues before. He's up 8 places. Ray, you can see just in the foreground of the shot there, he's up 7 and up to 4th in class. So he's actually getting 2 places in class in the Masters category. So that's a great start for him. In fact, Brewster now leading said Masters. It's all there's been. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars down it back. A cascade of issues and well, oh dear, Owen.
Okay, Cascades bringing up more victims as well. That was a pretty big hit and a pretty big mess as well with the Cascades there for our top lot. As Stevie Ray goes up into 5th place now. So a dream start for him, but yeah, that's not going to be good as the order switches around massively here. We have Simon jumping all the way down to 17th place overall. So yeah, not the best of lap fours for most of them. As we see a Reaper here of what actually happened there.
I'm fascinated. I'm guessing Maya must have lost it and they all just ran into one another.
Yeah, must have. Yeah, loses the rear end there, tries to save it and just spins around and couldn't do much with it. Yeah, and it's all just.
Oh dear.
Yeah, there it is. So what's going to happen with that tight section? No one can really do much as we see someone trying to avoid it there. Runs into the grass, but luckily keeps it all together on the exit there. But yeah, Simon dropping all the way down to 17th. And Steve Ray all the way up into 13th. We see Megan Overstreet go side by side with Joshua Soto. Not going to fight that one too much. Nice and early in the race as well. Still got the pit stop to deal with as well. So just keeping it all cool, keeping it all in check for now. Doesn't want to lose Hoagie too much here because, you know, if Hoagie goes away, then that's a chance at P1 that's gone as well, as we see Antonio Rees come into the pits to also take a fast repair there as he comes into his box, stops, and hopefully gets going again once the fuel goes into the car as well. But yeah, the order's been massively switched around in this only 5 laps that we've had here so far.
I'm just looking at it. I mean, I can't believe we're only 6 minutes in. I don't know where the time's gone, and B, it feels like we've done way more than that as well at the same time. First off, Stevie Ray, who by his own admittance will probably have a nosebleed. He's that high up the standings right now, and I say that with the great get all the credit out with Stevie, and he will admit that himself. Like, he would not expect to have finished in first if he can hold on to this one, and hopefully he can right now. This owner of this league, and also the Ford Spec Racer Weekend Warriors that you'll see later on here on Apex Racing TV, around about an hour after this broadcast finishes. Now, I was looking at it, and the guys that have just pitted, I think they've got a chance of making it through to the end. It's going to be hard, it's going to be really tough for them, but it is just about possible. So that's Race, Murakami, Brewster, Coffee, Mayer, DeGassius as well. Certainly DeGassius, because he's a lap down now. And so is Simon Mayer too, so... Excuse me, DeGassius, he's out. So forget about him completely. He's our first official. Ooh, no.
What's happened there? That must have been... That's very confusing. He must have had the meatball or something to come into the pits this early on, but unfortunately, Steve Ray hits the wall. As we see another on board here of his pit entry there, but yeah, that's a real big shame for Steve Ray, who we just picked up just a minute ago. Commentator's curse hits him big time. Comes into the pit lane a little bit too quick and smashes the wall on the right-hand side, but this pit box also being super early, so really has to yank the steering wheel to the right-hand side, and luckily gets into the box in time. But I don't know why he appeared there. Must have been a scheduled stop or a meatball or something.
No, doesn't matter what league it is, he always makes sure he stops first. It's just his tradition.
I see. I mean, that tradition might not have paid off with the wall hit there, but the fast repair obviously doing a bit of justice. But definitely lost some time with that wall hit and that pit box being so far back. But yeah, let's see what we can do towards the end.
That is the trouble with Oulton Park. It's pit. If you've got one of those very first pit boxes, they are a nightmare to get in. It's likewise a Knock Hill. That's another one as well. If you've got one of the last ones there, it's basically there's no garages whatsoever. And to try and pick out where your pit box is, it's a complete leap of faith and guesswork, as I found out when IMSA visited Knock Hill, the very first season that it came to the service. Can I say, LMP2 around Knock Hill, credit to the set makers, they did a brilliant job with it, and it is absolutely amazing and one of the best IMSA races I've ever had. I mean, you think about leaping an LMP2 across curbing.
Yeah.
They shouldn't do that. That's completely and utterly wrong. And
Not so.
no, it was absolutely brilliant fun. Made it work, and it just shows what random car and track combinations do and work. Another good one. Skip barbers on dirt ovals. Great fun.
That does sound fun.
Yeah. Anyway, back to more pressing matters, other than my meanderings for the world of sim racing of random car and track combos. Hoagie leads from Soto. Overstreet is in third right now, and despite there only a switch around between Soto and Overstreet, Hoagie's just edging away ever so slightly by a tenth a lap. It's not a lot, but it's just, well, we've just crept over that 1 second mark, and these two are really risking, as you alluded to earlier, Owen, very rightly so. They're going to fall out of draft range, and this is Hoagie's chance to secure a victory right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if qualifying's anything to go by, for sure Hoagie's going to start putting away being 2 attempts over Soto and Overstreet, even though all 3 of them had a really good start. But yeah, it's a shame. I mean, if I was Overstreet, I would have tried to get a solid move down on Hoagie down the inside of the hairpin at that one, if it was possible, because then you could hold Hoagie right there where you want him and not let him run away with the lead too much. But yeah, if qualifying instance go by, he's going to keep building that gap further and further, unless Soto and Overstreet can really find that pace within them that they didn't have in qualifying to push through in the race.
And they're looking very competitive once one another, aren't they, Soto and Overstreet? So what we are quarter race distance. Well, we've had a lot happened. So far, over half the field have taken to the pits as well due to incidents and drama and skirmishes. Plenty. It's all just seeing in the background. There's a car off at Cascades. Montevini, that is. And the Brazilian was running in a strong position. And oh well.
That car looks, I think, done yet.
That's dead.
Goes back to pit lane. There it goes. Unfortunately, the fast spray isn't going to do justice with that toe as well. So yeah, it feels like Montevani will be out of the race with that one, which is a shame. As you said, he had quite a strong start, obviously, with the massive cluster that it was at Cascades, gaining a few positions out of that. But yeah, with that incident at the same corner, goes back to pit lane, and that is a toe, and that is him out of the race, at least for now. See a replay here of what happened to Montevani there as he comes through Cascades. It might have been the same thing that happened to
Mayer was, he
yeah, Mayer, I believe, at the rear of the car. Yeah, just loses it on the curb, gets a little bit too much on the curb at the inside, tries to save it, and before it's too late, car goes round and the front nose comes off, and the wheels are pointing in two separate directions, and you can't do much about that. As we see Franz Reck there taking an interesting line for the chicane, it must be said.
It's almost like he thinks he's on the Foster's layouts.
Yeah, perhaps.
Rather than the island circuit. So back to live pictures now, and well, Murakami in the first sector last time around set the fastest sector 1. He's clearly on a bit of, got to get a bit of a wriggle on right now is Chris Murakami. And as he comes across the line, let's have a look at what his lap time is. Is he really improving? It's a new personal best. Oh, that's Soto off.
That's Soto from P2. That seems like the exit of the hairpin there as well. An odd place to lose it, is that? If my memory serves me correctly. No, it's the exit of the chicane on the right-hander. Okay, so must have...
It's out of Knickerbrook.
Yeah, that's...
Now, I think it's really slow. Overstreet's lost a lot of time to Hoagie as well, and all that. So I'm guessing she's had to really check. Oh, came to the grass.
Oh, it's very, very close. Overstreet there. Just, I think, got away with that on the rear tap there on the rear right-hand side of Soto's wheel there. But yeah, that was close from Overstreet there as well. So we get another replay here to see what happened to Murakami as well. Let's have a look as we were on board with him earlier on. Going into the hairpin, might have been a lockup or too far on the grass, maybe? No, completely too early. Just a little bit of a lockup, just a little bit wide. Not too much there from Murakami. Keeps on ploughing away in P15 overall.
So we've got Franz Reck into the pits. There he is, the American. And that is actually a scheduled stop as well for him. So...
Another early stopper as well as Stevie Ray there as well. Okay, Montevani comes back on track. He is not giving up. He's still pushing forward. I mean, it's a good idea, to be honest, because we've seen how many crashes there have been at Cascade and a few other corners here and there. So maybe Montevani can pick off a few places here from people having a few mishaps here and there.
It's been Cascades and Island Bend have been the two crucial parts. Ultimately, I know we've seen Soto lose it heading out through Knickerbrook. As well, still battles are plenty up and down through the field. This is Jason Green recovering, trying to find his way past Richard Coffey ahead of him. These two drivers caught up in earlier incidents and trying to make up for lost time. Now looking at them. Ooh, there's Green up the inside. A lovely little move into Old Hall.
Not wasting any time there.
No, up into 16th now, 5th in class for him. And interestingly, that looks like to me as well. Like, he's got a... I'm trying to have a look. I think Green doesn't have to stop again either. I think he can make this home. So... What with there's Warbolt in from 6th place as well. You see on the timing tower right now. He's heading into pit road. So this isn't done and dusted, is it? It's like when you have a safety car and there's people on, some people pitted, some people didn't, different strategies all forming around, and it keeps us guessing here in the commentary booth to try and work out exactly how this one's going to pan out, who's where, who can make up more places. And I mean, we've had no safety car, but because of the incidents, it feels like that sort of scenario right now.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like the best scenario is to get yourself in as much clean air as possible, as you were saying, to avoid all the incidents happening around you, and probably to avoid some dirty air as well. As you've seen, Cascade can probably be affected by dirty air. A few other corners as well may be affected by it too. So maybe it's a good idea to try and find some clean air, get in it, and yes, try and push forward as much as you can. As we see, Gene Nelson there as well, looping it at the chicane there as well. So must have lost it around the right-hander there.
Yeah, it's down at his lobs, isn't it? I'm guessing just lost it on entry, and that's what's caused him to spin round. There's another victim down at that's Hislop's Knickerbrook Complex. So here's Nelson. Too much curb, not enough. It's all Soto's into the pits. Just keep up to date with what's happening there. Ooh, too fast in there, wasn't he?
Way too fast, yeah. Way too fast going in the entry, and the rear end doesn't really like it too much. Tries to get it slowed down, and as you're applying more brake pressure, the front's, you know, popping down a little bit more, and then, yeah, too much front bite makes the rear end lose itself as well. So, yeah, that battle's now got up quite close as we see Soto in the pits now as well. But, yeah, that battle between Gene Nelson and Warbeck coming down to just under a second as well. So, at least it made it a bit more interesting here to watch.
So Soto's looking strong. Of everyone who's stopped so far, he is the highest up the side of the leaderboard right now. Pocock behind him is yet to stop. So Soto is within range of, certainly, I'd say, well, this battle here right now, over fourth for Nelson. He runs it in deep again, and Wallbank, this is his chance as they head up across the crest of the hill through Hilltop down towards Hislops, and Wallback, if he wants to get past, he might feel a little bit nervous seeing how quickly he would have spotted. He's caught up to the back of Nelson after two incidents within the space of, well, pretty much one lap for Nelson. Maybe lacking a bit of consistency, maybe feeling a little bit vulnerable right now. Wallback, it's one of those treacherous places, isn't it? Because you want to get the move done, you don't want to get caught up in someone else's incident, but you don't want to try and force it too much, because then that can put you in an incident when you really didn't need to be in one.
Yeah, for sure. As you said, we're seeing how easy it can be to lose this car at a lot of these corners. As you see Gene Nelson do it around the chicane as well itself, going in a little bit too fast, and Cascade has been a big troublemaker for these guys today as well. So yeah, taking it a little bit easier and just using that draft effectively is going to really help you as well. As I saw on the timing tower, Wallbank was 2 tenths behind going into the chicane, and Gene Nelson with a bit more aggression going into the chicane gained to 5 tenths, and then back on the straight it went all the way down to 2 tenths again. So Wallbank here is probably just going to be taking a bit more easier into the corners and allowing the draft to do most of the work for him here.
Through Cascades, down Lakeside. You can see definitely that Wallbank seems to be a lot more confident in the car that's beneath him compared to Nelson right now. Nelson takes that defensive line. Wallbank just running in a bit deeper. And yet again, Island Bend is not Nelson's friend whatsoever. He's been really struggling with it at this stage. Well, pretty much half race distance now. Just keep an eye on in the background there. That is Soto trying to make his way past Laurie. Soto trying to desperately claw back some of that time as these two battles happen simultaneously right now. Nelson versus Wallbank, Laurie versus Soto.
Yeah, I reckon Soto's going to be driving a little bit hot-headed. Obviously, going to be very, very frustrated with what could have been in this race after that small spin there. Yeah, he's going to be not too pleased with himself and trying to bring back that point as much as he can as he tries to look down the inside of the last corner here. I think it's going to be fairly easy for him. Late on the brakes, down goes Soto into the final corner, gets set down fairly well, and has a brilliant exit as well to get pulled off there too. So, yeah, he's going to be driving a little bit hot-headed, I feel. But I feel like he has the pace to come back at least to roughly, I'm going to say, at least P5 or P4.
Ooh, that almost looks like contact there, didn't it? That's the sharp intake from a spole at the same time there. As, well, Laurie nearly into the back of Soto, and Soto catching Wallbank and Nelson at a rapid rate of knots as Wallbank still struggling to find his way past Nelson. So he head down towards Island Bend along Lakeside. So the brakes here. And, well, who's going to get the best exit? And Laurie is definitely struggling. That's the second time he's looked like he's nearly been into the back of Soto. It's uncomfortable times for us here in the commentary booth. I'm sure even more so for Joshua Soto right now, but at least Soto now up onto the back of Wallbank and looking to dispatch him in with relatively quick ease and swiftly as possible. As well, this is going to be an interesting move up the hill towards Druids. That's a bit of an unconventional overtaking place, and quite brave if he can get it done here. Yes, he can.
Oh, Tom Laurie as well going down the inside. It's a brilliant move there. Saw the opportunity, seized it with loads of confidence. And yes, a brilliant move for Tom Laurie there. Wallbank loses 2 positions in 1 corner.
Well, I was surprised about Soto. Laurie, even more surprised. There's Antonio Rice getting the move to there over Caleb Pocock. That's for 8th place overall right now as Wallbank is into the pits.
That's a good choice from Wallbank there as well. That's a very good choice. Obviously, that battle's going to start shaping up and they're going to lose a bunch of time now. So if Wallbank can get the pit done now, find some clean air and start to use that to his advantage, you can probably get out ahead of them.
Do you think Wallbank maybe left it a lap too long? Whoa,
Perhaps, yeah.
Wow. Joshua Soto cutting the grass there for the ground staff. That's going to be it's going to be a slowdown. There's Laurie back ahead of him as he's checked up there and allowed him pass just to burn off that slowdown. Penalty. And yeah, but that's a Wallbank. Yeah, do you think maybe just left it 1 lap too late? Maybe should have done it early. We saw how much he seemed to be being held up by Nelson.
Yeah, perhaps, but again, you can't really predict these things as they happen, of course. No one was really expecting, well, with Soto, we kind of expected him to go down the inside, but no one expected that move from Tom Laurie there, which was quite brave and bold and really paid off for him in the end. But yeah, Wallbank maybe thinking to himself, yes, should have put it a lap early, but now he's got a nice clean track ahead of him to try and find that pace as this battle is really shaping up now, again, between Tom Laurie and Joshua Soto, as Gene Nelson there trying to find some clean air and is running away from that a little bit, as we see a repeat of what happened a few laps ago here. Joshua Soto down the inside. Tom Laurie not going to defend it too much. Going to try and hold on to a nice exit there and find the momentum down to turn 1, which he has done. Got a little bit of overspeed there going through down to the walls to check a flag. Tom Laurie is going to battle this one going to turn 1. Looks towards the inside. Thinks better of it, it seems there, as he slips back in line behind Joshua Soto there. But yeah, this battle is really shaping up and it's pretty good for Wallbank there, trying to find some momentum in the clean air.
Meanwhile, out in front, this is just past.
Oh, Gene Nelson spins at Cascades.
Well spotted, Owen. Well spotted.
That's huge for Gene Nelson there.
It is, isn't it? It puts Nelson all the way back down to 8th place. Take a look at exactly how he managed it. Maybe spooked by the back marker a little bit.
Yeah, was thrown offline there and then lost the kind of rhythm that he had there that was really going well for him. He started to pull away from Tom Laurie there and Joshua Soto, really setting into his own rhythm, and it was knocked off course by the back marker there. Obviously not the back marker's fault, just one of them things where you have them in front of you, it's a little obstacle that throws you offline, and then especially into a corner where it's so easy to lose it, as we've seen so far this race. It's happened to Gene Nelson there at the time that's least convenient.
Ronneberg now tucked up right behind Nelson. How about Ronneberg, how quick he can be. Well, Ronneberg is going to have to stop again. Likewise, Nelson yet to stop completely. So these two, although nearest Zamet, the same pit strategy. Talking of pit strategy, into the pits comes Pereira from 3rd place. And this means, despite Soto's little excursion and his spin, it's going to put him back up into 3rd overall. However, he is a whopping, some 34 seconds behind Overstreet, so I don't see him making all of that back, but it's going to be relatively close, isn't it? I mean, he's going to be probably, I'd say, about 15 seconds back after the round of pit stops at the current pace. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, obviously, we've seen how much these guys have been battling in this mid-pack here as well, so yeah, he's definitely going to lose a lot of time to Overstreet and Hoagie, who have just had a kind of clean race in terms of what they've been going through at the front here. So yeah, Overstreet losing time to Hoagie, of course, but it could all change. You know, we've seen how easy it is to lose the car here, but it doesn't seem like Alison Hoagie's going to have too much trouble with that, putting in fastest sectors here and there. I'm seeing a couple of purples, a couple of greens pop up as well, with last lap being fastest lap overall as well, with the 1:27.97 as well there from Hoagie. So yeah, I believe the Soto will keep that P3 fairly comfortably as he is now, but yeah, he's going to still be in the fight, of course.
It's Hoagie just setting new fastest lap of the race, a 127.97. The only driver to make it into the 127 so far as well. Cracking race from Hoagie. He's really dominated this since the start. Of course, that battle between Soto and Overstreet allowed him to open up that gap. And then, obviously, when we lost Soto, Overstreet lost a bit of further more time then. It's just been Hoagie out by himself in that 69 machine. And that looks like it's going to carry him all the way to victory. Although we do still have 14 minutes of racing remaining here from Oulton Park, so it could go any way. We've seen plenty of drama to last, well, a series, let alone one round of the championship. That still remains to be seen. Let's just take you through your order right now. So Hoagie leads Overstreet second, then Soto up into third. Well, Hoagie's starting to encroach on a lot of traffic. That's Nelson ahead of him, then Green, Wallbang. I mean, that's something you didn't expect to see. Jason Green being lapped by Hoagie.
Yeah, it's quite surprising there.
It shows you just what a sort of a round we've had today here, Owen, isn't it, really? Tom Laurie leads Spec 2. He's up 12 places. He is yet to stop, though. Antonio Reyes is leading Masters. That's brilliant, considering he really struggled in qualifying here today. He's 5th overall. Then it's Pereira, Roneberg, Marnie, Ray, Murakami. I mean, Ray's going to be ruining that mistake. It's hurt him dearly, and well, he was on course potentially for a victory. Brewster's 11th, then we've got Warbolt and Wallbank to round out your Spec 2 podium. Those two 12th and 14th overall, respectively. This is the beauty, isn't it, when you're Addison Hoagie? You're leading by, well, I mean, I know he's lost about a second in this traffic. Well, there's one gone. It's Nelson around again.
That's a shame for Nelson there. He's not going to be too happy with how the race has gone out for him today, but yeah, not much else to say for Nelson there. He's had not the best of races here. Done a few good moves here and there, but yeah, he's lost it quite a few times, being a bit too hot-headed into the chicane there.
It's just not been his day at the office, has it? And hopefully for a great race. That is one of his home rounds. Of course, we visited Snetzen earlier in the season. Roneberg is into the pits. That's his second stop. Of course, he was one of the drivers who stopped on the opening lap. So that is actually, would have been a slightly delayed, but his scheduled stop had not been able to run in as deep, interestingly, compared to the likes of Hoagie and also Tom Laurie. Those are the only two drivers yet to stop, because Overstreet was one of them, but she is into the pits from second. I mean, this is the beauty, isn't it? When you lead by such a margin, you can manage the race. You can fuel save. You don't have to rush to get past the driver. All the onus is on the second place car. The car behind you to try and make up as much of that time as possible. And Hoagie's just driven this one so far to absolute perfection. So this is your battle for 4th overall. Laurie versus Antonio Reyes. That one, I thought he was going to get the move done there up the inside. It was all the stars were aligning for Antonio Reyes, but Portuguese driver just backs out of it a little bit. So Laurie goes defensive, but that was almost like he let him by. I'm not too sure if he even picked up a small slowdown potentially.
Yeah, it was up there. I mean, Tom Laurie was, super confident with what he was doing that last corner. Really held around the outside and made sure that Antonio Reyes knows that he's not giving that one up too early. But yeah, not sure what happened. Maybe just lost a lot of time because of that hugging to the outside line on the last corner there, and just couldn't keep up on the straight, and has lost a lot of time here through Cascades as well.
It's just currently it's just amplifying, isn't it? Those time differences. Other key battles you got on the track: the battle for the last place in Masters, Ray versus Murakami. They're about 8 tenths behind one another. There's enough of one of them as well. Coffee versus Wallbank. Wallbank trying to recover this one. Coffee might have to stop again. He stopped all the way back on lap 4. We're currently on lap 21 right now, so he will be running incredibly close on fuel, and if he wants to get home, he'll have to be fuel saving to the max here. Although even then, it will still be incredibly tight for him to do so. Wow, what a race it has been so far. I mean, like I said earlier, I think about the 9-minute mark. It feels like an absolute lifetime, but it feels like it's flown by at the same time. It's had a bit of everything, this race. As Pocock now up as the back of that Coffee and Warbank fight.
Yeah, indeed. It's been a pretty action-packed one, especially from the start, with the Cascades being a big one for everyone to spin out on and cause a bit of trouble for everyone today. But yeah, Hoagie, as you said before, has really had this in the bag, it seems, throughout this entire race so far. Obviously had a bit of a scuff through traffic there, Overstreet pitting fairly early to avoid most of that traffic, as we see. Pocock there really drifting through the mid part of the track there, keeping it nice and tight together there on the exit as well. But yeah, Addison and I believe Tom Laurie is our only people still to pit in this race so far. Tom Laurie having a really good race in P5 right now, but that could change with the order when he has to pit, of course. But Megan Overstreet could be still within arm's reach of a win here, of course. Being only 33 seconds off the lead, the pit length is around about 30 or so seconds. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see where Hoagie comes out in terms of position-wise, well, distance-wise to Overstreet as well. Overstreet with a pretty much clear track as far as the eye can see as well. So she's going to be pushing as much as she can to try and push towards Hoagie. But Hoagie's setting it 27.57 last time round, which is monumentally quick for the race so far as we've seen. No one else getting into the 27s apart from Hoagie, and very much so getting into the 27s with a 27.57 as well. So he's really getting the hammer down to try and push through his final stint here, or the final first part of his stint before his pit stop. And yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting at the end. If Hoagie gets a bit more traffic or it's a bit more instance here and there, it could shake up the order a little bit here and there. Yeah, it seems like he's pretty okay with clean air, as we see a back marker right behind him there. He seems pretty okay towards the end of his pit stop.
It's Jason Green right behind him there, and I was a little bit worried for Hoagie because Overstreet, elected to bail on all that traffic, whereas Hoagie decided to battle his way through it. Obviously, as much as he's running lighter, but Overstreet with the heavier car, but did have come out into fresh air, so would have been able to set some solid laps. And all of a sudden, as you just said there, Hoagie pops it into the mid 27s and goes, well, that lap alone went around about 8 tenths faster than Overstreet managed. So what do we know, hey Owen? What do we know? Clearly, Anson Hoagie's got this absolutely sewn up, knows exactly what he's doing, and driving absolutely impeccable race right now. Yeah,
for sure. He's managed the traffic really well. Obviously, he got caught up in a bunch of back marker traffic there. Dealt with it fairly well. Obviously, Nelson ahead of him was looping at the chicane and dealt with that well. Didn't let it throw him off his rhythm at all. Which is what we saw, I believe, with G. Nelson as well, which he got a back marker in front of him. Lost a little bit of his rhythm, and a Cascades went a bit exploring the grass a little bit there as well. But he's definitely got this in the bag. Really focused, really concentrated on what he has to do, and he's doing it really well. As we see as well, seems like Pandak and Warbank is our closest battle here as well, as we focus on Stevie Ray and Murakami, who's also quite a close battle here. 5 tenths separating the two of them as well for their battle in class. For I believe this is P3 in class as well for them, so plenty in place. It's getting quite close between the two of them. Steve Ray obviously had a really good start as well from the beginning. Went up to all the way to P5 at the very beginning with all the monumental mayhem at Cascades at the beginning of the race as well. So he's had a fairly successful day, bringing up 10 places overall and 3 places in class. So yeah, he's going to be very happy with his progress today here on track.
It'll be a little bit frustrated by, obviously hitting the wall on the pit entry. He then did have a bit of a further excursion off the track, which lost him a place to Jorg Marni, and just struggled a little bit for pace since then, but still holding on to that third in class, and 3 places in class, 10 overall. So definitely a solid day at the office here for Ray right now, although Murakami trying to spoil that a little bit here in the closing stages as they head through Knickerbrook. It's my favourite. That's my favourite corner in the whole of world's motorsport. The name of it.
Definitely not my one.
Oh,
Definitely not.
It's got a brilliant story behind it, and I've yet to find a better story involving a man called Blaster Bates, who was a local demolitions expert, brought him to take out a couple of oak trees that were down at that corner. As there's Tom Laurie into the pits. Ooh. And, well, upon doing so, sets off one explosion, then the second one. On the second one, a young couple was seen getting up and running away from the reeds near the river that runs alongside that corner. And, well, upon a further investigation, heading down there to see what they were up to, they found a pair of knickers in the brook, and that's how it got its name.
That's quite a cool story.
Yeah, I've yet to find a better story behind a corner name so far. I mean, you know, answers on a postcard, please. Matt chat, if you've got a better one. I've yet to find one. There is our leader, Addison Hoagie, into the pits. And this needs to be timed to perfection. It's been flawless all race long. The car's not going up onto the jacks. That's good. That's what he wants to do. Here comes Overstreet down into Old Hall. Sorry, Lodge Corner Eva. I always get first and last corner names mixed up here. Too engrossed on Knickerbrook, that's why. So there is Hoagie on exit. Where is Overstreet? She's only just crossed the line. As much as he's coming at pace, well, it's back out to pretty much what it was before the round of pit stops. So staying out, battling through that traffic, but having the light of car and that epic new fastest lap of the race that Hoagie has set, he's managed to negate the fact that Overstreet dipped out of that traffic, didn't go through it, as there is Jorg Marnie into the pits. I tell you, we're going to see a bit of a flurry of activity inside these last 3.5 minutes, because a lot of drivers who pitted in the opening laps are going to be very, very close on fuel and having to pit again. So this is going to really jump around the order. And the fact that's going to move Ray and Murakami up to 2nd and 3rd in class, respectively, for those two. This is looking like a really solid day at the office to some of our drivers, considering they've been involved in incidents.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm just looking at the places gained and lost throughout the entire race, and it's all over the place, really. No one has really started, or are now where they started in queue, which is good to see as a spectator. Of course, everyone's switching and changing, and great for the people that gained, but not so much for the people that lost out. Of course, the only people that are really stayed the same is Addison Hoagie, Megan Overstreet, that have been kind of just quiet and tucked in their own kind of rhythm at the front there. John Pereira as well at the P5 currently as well. But yeah, obviously Stevie Ray getting 12 positions. Overall, 4 positions in class. Chris Murakami dropping 1 position in class, but getting 2 overall as well. So yeah, really successful day for Steve Ray so far. So he's going to be very happy with himself, as well as Antonio Reese as well, gaining 8 positions overall and 3 places in class to be leading in his class.
Not a bad day at the office, is it, for Antonio Reese? 4th overall. Really solid race from the Portuguese driver. Well, just looking to close this one out as a few of them. Well, Ronenberg versus Marnie. This could be an interesting battle late stage of the race. 2 titans of industry within the Ford spec racers, and likewise in the Formula Fords too. And Ronenberg laying, well, it always seemed like he let Marnie pass there with relative ease.
Yeah, it definitely did. I wonder if that's strategic to try and catch Walpole at the end there. Of course, this pack between, I think it's Ray all the way down to Ronenberg, in fact, it's fairly close. So, yeah, in particular, Brewster as well. So maybe Ronenberg let Marnie through to try and catch on to that Walpole and Brewster battle. Does he have enough time? Probably not. 3.7 seconds is a large gap. So, yeah, interesting that he just let him by there. But again, they are in separate classes in terms of the championship. So maybe Ronenberg's thinking more about that rather than just overall position, which is, yeah, a smart move if you try and pick up some decent points.
Nearly into the final 60 seconds here. Tell you what, they're going to get about at least a full-on extra lap in here, which might catch a few drivers out who might be running a bit close on fuel. Those who stopped on lap 4, so that's Coffee. Tagasius, he retired, so we can't include him in that list. Who else have we got? We've got Brewster, Murakami involved in that. Ray stopped on lap 5, so he should be okay. Pereira. Though, so Antonio Rice, another one who stopped on lap 4. Ooh, will this extra lap catch some of our drivers out? Well, we'll find out very shortly. Addison Hoagie coming up to around about halfway through the lap as he heads across the crest of the hill at Hilltop, down towards Hilltops, onto the brakes. But there is Overstreet just in the background, 5.5 seconds behind. Not really been able to do anything since Hoagie got away early on in Overstreet. She might be a bit frustrated with herself from that one, but stretching the imagination, Hoagie's been on absolute fire here today at Oulton Park. As the clock now officially ticks down to 0. We've completed the 40 minutes. Checkered flag will be out when Hoagie crosses the line, and he just needs to make it through Lodge Corner. As he comes onto the brakes, needs to bring this one home. He's slowing it up too, as he's going to take victory here at Oulton Park in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors Series with a flawless drive from the front, led every lap, fastest lap of the race and takes the victory. It's Addison Hoagie, a grand challenge for the Canadian. Overstreet's going to finish second, and it looks like Soto's going to claim that third, which is a great recovery, all things considered.
Yeah, indeed. A fantastic race again, as we mentioned before, from Hoagie there, and a really good race from Megan Overstreet as well. I used to see them right at the top of the standings as well, so fantastic to finish second overall there for Megan there as well. As we've seen a fantastic race from this man as well, Stevie Ray, 2 attempts behind his Murakami. He's going to try to look to the inside of the final corner, doesn't so. That's pretty interesting there from Murakami there. Just takes the points and takes what is a decent race from him as well. Stevie Ray comes across the line to finish P6 overall and P2 in class for him. So fantastic job for him. And Murakami separated by 0.057. Very close at the end there as well for them too. Harry Walbot comes across the line to finish P1 in his class as well. P10 overall. Yeah, very successful day for most of our drivers here today. And our big losers here, Simon Mayer as well, losing 12 positions out at the very beginning after a fairly decent start as well. A fairly decent move into the hairpin we saw earlier on. But yeah, shame for him to drop out that far. And yeah, wow. Oh, your money actually, in fact. Focusing on that as well. Coming through to take P9 overall. So getting Gary Walbot at the end, which is pretty impressive there, to catch 3.7 seconds in 1.5 laps. Very impressive.
I mean, Walbot, just looking at when he stops on lap 10, so he wouldn't have been struggling for fuel. So maybe a bit of an off-track there. Yeah, I think Walbot had an off-track and late on, so that's what's caused him to lose all that time and Marnie to catch him and then pass him as well. So I mean, catching is one thing, passing is something completely different altogether. So it's a great effort from the Swiss driver there. As a few of the drivers head off to take the jump. There we go. That's how it's done, Jason Green.
Lovely. Jason Green there, of course, not having the best of starts, obviously being taken out fairly early on at the hairpin, as well as Your Money, in fact. So Your Money and Jason Green did a great comeback to come from last all the way up to the mid-pack in this standings as well. So yeah, great race from them too, and a great race overall by everyone today.
Certainly. Let's take you through some classifier results here from Oulton Park. It's Hoagie with a victory, then Overstreet second, Soto third, then Antonio Rossi, winner in Masters, fourth overall. Pereira fifth, then it's your second and third on the podium in Masters, sixth, seventh overall, Ray and Murakami. With Brewster, Marnie and Gary Walbot taking that victory spot, that late off track and dropping a place to Marnie to get inside the top 10, take that Spec 2 victory. Then it's Roderberg and Green, good recoveries from those two. With Laurie Coffey, 13th, 14th overall, second and third in Spec 2. Then it's Kayla Pocock, Wallbank, Michael Janae Nelson. And then we have got, I've lost my place in the stand. There we are, Franz Reck. He was 2 laps down, then into the retirements. We lost Simon Mayer on lap 17, Montavini on lap 11, De Gassius on lap 3, and Pellegrini did not make the start after we covered a whopping 27 laps here today. Let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers. First off, our winner here today, Addison Hoagie. Addison, congratulations. A flawless race from yourself. Qualified on pole, led every lap, fastest lap of the race, and of course taking the victory.
Thank you so much. Shout out to Stevie and to our sponsor PDA, and also to Emil Bernstorff, who was helping me out during the race with fuel and racecraft and whatnot.
Well, I mean, someone like Emil on your side, that lends to maybe why you did so well today. I mean, having said that, you've got impeccable pace as well. I mean, obviously, you must have seen early on Overstreet and Soto battling away. Do you find that was really the sort of defining point of your race, where you were just able to get away, break the draft,
stressful,
and make it like your life so much easier?
Yeah, it was super stressful. She was on my tail the entire time, and then as soon as Joshua, I think it was Soto who spun out.
Yes.
I cheered and then kind of took it away from there.
Well, that's completely fair enough. Well, Addison, we'll let you go and enjoy your victory here today. Congratulations. That's Addison Hoagie, your victor at Oulton Park.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for supporting us and everything. And cheers. See ya.
See you. See you. Take care. Owen, who have you managed to grab?
I think we'll grab Megan Overstreet as well and bring Megan in. So, Megan, of course, very, very well done today here at Oulton Park. P2 overall there for you. Yeah, talk us through that race from your perspective.
Yeah, it was a really good race. I was pushing as hard as I could almost the entire way, and then Joshua spun out coming out of the chicane. and I got a Phantom 4X, and we just lost a draft to the leader at that point. So as hard as I was pushing, Addison was responding with the same lap times or a little bit quicker, so I just could not catch up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that battle with Joshua Soto looked good from our perspective, but I'm sure when you're in the car, it was a little bit frustrating there to lose Addison Hoagie then at the first part of that. But yeah, obviously we saw at the rear end of the field a lot of drivers losing it at Cascades there. How was Cascades turn 3 there for you as well?
Oh yeah, the car was always going sideways through there. I've had a couple saves that I was really happy that I saved it instead of crashing.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very, very tricky car and track combo for sure. But yeah, fantastic race from you. Any final messages that you got there for us today?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Precision Driving Analytics for sponsoring our series. All the work that Stevie Ray does to put all this on. Happy Mother's Day to my mom and my family watching. And thank y'all for putting on a great broadcast.
Thank you very much indeed. We're going to great race again, and we'll see you very soon.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got our winner in Masters, 4th overall. Antonio Race joins us. Antonio, well, what a race for yourself. I mean, you seem to struggle a little bit in qualifying, but I mean, everything happened in front of you. Just talk us through this opening first few laps with all those incidents and arriving at the scene with it all happening in front of you.
Good night, guys. Good night, everyone. Thanks for having me. Well, I was a little bit out of pace, and then I was just getting positions because the other guys was getting some problems, I suppose. But the race was a little bit scary in the beginning. But then after that, it was a little bit just a very lonely kind of a race.
Well, you say, about it being lonely. I mean, it meant that you kept away from the trouble and in the end climbed an incredible 8 places and 3 places in class. So it carries you all the way to victory. So I suppose on the flip side, to look at it from a positive light, at least, you weren't near anyone. There was nobody battling you, nobody holding you up, and you were able to keep away from any further incidents by being by yourself.
Yeah, I was a little bit distracted sometimes, and then, but yeah, mostly I was just trying to keep focus, to not doing something stupid.
I know exactly what you mean. Well, congratulations to Antonio Race, winning here today in Masters and 4th overall. Well, that's all we've got time for here today. From Oulton Park in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors coming up on the channel in around about 40 minutes or so time. We've got the SRF Weekend Warriors, the Ford Spec Racers. Make sure you tune in for that one. Big grids, big action, as always, from myself, Tim Cox, Owen Carroll, and Samula Kumo. Thanks very much for joining us, and good night.